God, it's so quiet.
You wait. In half a minute's time.
Turn the radio on.
Here in the studio, we're listening to fragments of news coming from Europe and the United States. And from here, Australia, I feel a sense of powerlessness and disbelief. And so as the final seconds of the old year tick away, I think all of us might say a few private words in prayer to ask that the new year might bring peace and an end to the madness of war.
Australia, New Year's Eve, 1984. As the last seconds of the year fly by, something else is flying on its way to Sydney. Nuclear missiles. Just as the old year ends and is replaced by the new, 4 young people learn now that civilization is ending, and it's anyone's guess what it will be replaced by. The 2 young ladies and 2 young men spend the final moments of the year, and potentially their lives, befriending one another, flirting with one another, and reflecting on their lives and memories, doing just about anything to fight against the dread that comes with wondering not if or when their end will come, but what, if anything, will come after it. Take the Breakfast Club teens and make them serve their detention in a nuclear Armageddon. That's the idea with this movie. They gossip, they gab, each other's genitals they'll grab, all while certain doom ushers them to make big moves before there's nowhere left to run from nuclear hellfire. It's a great idea for a movie, and it could have really been special if they had just spent a little more time really evoking that sense of nuclear dread. I think that's the biggest problem with the movie. That said, the movie isn't all bad. Emotionally, the movie has great scenes of the characters contemplating their past, scored with touching music and a sense of awe and silence. You know, when you think back on a really special thought and everything else just kind of drifts away and you're only thinking about that moment. It achieves that sort of emotional gravity that grows with you as you age. Those times, again, where you're stopped and you're feeling that going backwards into nostalgia is the only way forward. These are the movie's best parts. As for thrills, the movie has brief glimpses of the atmosphere needing to really sell an apocalypse movie. There's things like red skies, which reminded me of Godzilla 1984, and peals of thunder intimating that missiles are exploding in the far corners of the earth. Those are really cool touches. But unfortunately, this is about as much nuclear kaboom that you're going to get in this theater piece. It may have been more interesting to see that question or that mystery of if the bombs were really coming never answered at all. Unfortunately, the movie decides to reveal the answer to if it's happening or not in probably the most unsatisfying way I've seen in a nuclear drama. A character sees a news broadcast from a place where a nuke hit. Just the idea of being able to see a news broadcast from the area where the bomb went off suggests that the damage isn't too bad. If the news crews can still function and film and stations can broadcast and narrate, the situation doesn't imply society's permanent collapse. Again, in most of the really effective nuclear drama movies, it just goes to that warning signal or the TV just cuts out and there's no real talking about, yeah, the bombs went off and we're all still here. It's not really good tension building. So what we do see on the TV, if we have to look at it, it needs to be good. Well, it's sort of like a Halloween show with visibly injured people wandering around some wreckage. It looks more like a deleted scene from the bombastic movie Lifeforce than a scene of actual nuclear destruction. Think of scenes from The Day After or Night of the Comet, where the bomb or comet really just absolutely wipes out all human life, and it does it in a spectacular, visually stunning way. I don't picture people walking around in bandages, groaning, while a still functional military tends to them. I think of ruined buildings, people just gone, vaporized, in utter silence, filled only by the wind. One Night Stand doesn't have the absolute misery of Threads, which is okay, as it's a bit more mainstream, a bit more teenage love drama. But it also doesn't have the impending doom and tension of the greatest nuclear Armageddon movies ever made, movies like Miracle Mile. One Night Stand is not terrible, it's not great, it is just okay. Which, in terms of one night stands, you want it to be great or at least a good story to tell later, right? To be mundane is almost the worst fate. If you really need another hit of obscure nuclear panic movies, this one will probably do the trick for you. But if you've already had the strongest, most megaton-filled stuff out there in nuclear movies, you're gonna want to stay in your bunker on this one. I give One Night Stand 3 robotic nutcracker robots that everyone seems to think is like perfectly normal, like there's robots like that in the world. But no society on Earth has really ever made a robot with a noticeable dick bulge that moves like that before, so it's not believable. Out of 5. Who the heck wants to bomb Australia, by the way? That's like throwing a dodgeball at the special ed kid who has to sit on the sidelines during PE. I guess someone in Russia really just wanted to see some real-life Mad Max movies.
All of these things are designed to frighten a monkey.